Hello students, welcome to CETL videos. I am Disha Mohini Pathak from ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So this is the lecture 1 of the topic file handling using Python. In this topic, we will cover about the file, about the types of file, and the operation that will be performed on the files. So these are the references through which you can study more about this topic. So let's get started. First, to know about the file. You know that we always used to store the data somewhere in secondary memory storage. Why we are going to store it in the secondary memory storage? Because the storage is permanent. Okay, and we know that that particular storage is a large memory as compared to the RAM, which is a random access memory. So to keep the data for a later use, we need some kind of memory where we can store our data. So where to store the data? Data is stored in a file. So file is a named location on secondary memory storage where data is permanently stored and you can use it later on for further purposes or for further usages. Now, we use it for, as I have told you, that we use this particular data to, we use it again and again, this particular data for a number of purposes. Now, when we are going to store the data in Python, we use the extension .py. So that are also the files. Same when you have created a Microsoft document file with the extension docx, that is also a file. If there is a file named .pdf, that is also a file. So whatever the content you have stored in a secondary memory storage with number of extensions like Excel file, or you can say that the PDF file, or you can say your audio and video file, they all are the files and they are stored for later on usages. Now let's study what are the different types of files in Python. So in Python also we have two categories of files. One is the text file and one is the binary file. Text file, you can understand that the text file is the one which you can that you can read, okay, or you can understand by saying that it is a human readable file or English a file which consists of English language. Okay, so you can say that the source file which you have created when you are going to program something, that particular file is a text file. And there is one more file in the Python, we call it as binary file. Binary file is the one which human cannot read directly. You need some tool or you need some kind of software to actually read that particular file or to actually extract the data from that particular file. So text file is the one which you can easily open and you can read. And the binary is the one which you cannot read, but you can extract the data of that particular file using some kind of software or a tool. Now let's study more about these kind of files, means text files and binary files. So first of all, let's try to understand what are the different types of files which actually falls under the umbrella of text files. So you can see this chart. In this particular chart, text file is categorized into some kind of files like the document files, like text files which we have created using Notepad, TEX files, Markdown, SkyDoc file, RTF file, and PS files. These are the documents. Let's say the source codes. These source codes are also considered as a text files. Like we created a program of C, that is also the source code of that particular language is considered as a text file. Likewise, CPP, then a CS file, JS file, PY file, Java file, RBNPL file. These are the programming languages, or these are the source codes of these programming languages considered as a text file. In the same way, the HTML file, or you can say that the web is standard files or the web files, these are also considered as the text files like JSON, SVG, CSS, XML. These all are the text files. In the same way, configuration files and the tabular data like CSV and TSV files, these are also considered as the text files, because when we are going to open it, we can understand the content that is written inside the text file. Okay, and we can open it using the editor also. Whereas I have told you that binary file, you cannot open it by using the editor. You need some kind of software or a tool so that you can extract the data or to extract the content inside that particular file. Now move on to the binary files. I've told you binary files are those that cannot be readable by the human. So these are like images. We can see the file, but the content inside that file we cannot able to read it. So the images or the audios, videos, these are all considered as the uh, these binary files. Or if you want to try to open it in the notepad, you can see the binary codes like 0 and 1's code, which is not at all understandable for you. That is the code that can only be understood by the machines. Like documents like PDF, doc, XLS, PPT, doc, ODT, executable files, archive files, database files. These are the files that are considered as the binary files. Moving on, let's know what are the operations that can be performed on the file. As likewise, like whenever you created a file, you can open that particular file. You can do some manipulation on that file. You can delete the file. You can close the file. In the same way, in Python also, same kind of operation can be performed on the file. That are writing on the file, reading a file, opening a file, then closing a file. So let's try to understand how to do and how to perform all these operations in Python. First of all, let's understand how to open a particular file. So in Python, you have to use a function called open. That is the inbuilt function. That particular function is used to open any kind of file. Means either it is a text file or a binary file. Okay. Now this particular open function returns a file object which we call as a file handle. Now this file handle is further used for any kind of operation. Like if you want to write something on that particular file, if you want to read something, if you want to close a file, if you want to open a file, this particular file handler, or you can say that this is the reference of your file which is opened. Okay, so this is the file handle that is further used for the number of functions that need to be performed on a file. So let's try to understand this with the syntax of open function. Now, if you want to open a file, you have to write in this way. First, let's try to understand the right hand side, and then we will go towards the left hand side. Okay, now open is the function. This is a built-in function that is used to open a particular file. If you want to open a file, that file should exist in your system, and that particular file should have some name. So you have to first mention the name of your file which you want to open. Okay, so you have to mention the name in the double quotes because that was a string. Okay, now then there is a access mode. Let's try to understand what is the access mode. Access mode means in which mode you want to open the file. You want to read the file, you want to write the file, you want to append in the file. So there is a difference in write and append. We'll discuss it in our next slide. Okay. So you have to mention the mode first. Let's say if I only want to read the file. So the mode of that particular file is R, means read. If I want to write a file, the mode should be W, means write. If I want to append a file, the mode is equals to A. And keep in mind, whenever we want to mention all these things like access mode or file name, these all things are always in a string. So you have to enclose it in the double quotes. Okay, I'll show you the example also. Now, as I have told you, this open function returns you a object, an object or a file handle, which we call it as file handle or file handler. So this open file is returning an object that is saved in file underscore object, or you can say that this file underscore object, which is a variable, that is actually the file handle object or a file object. Okay. So I hope you understand the whole syntax. Now, let's take the example. Let's say I have a file named as test.txt. Okay. And if I want to open it, like how I want to open it, I need an open function. Then I have to mention the name of the file. As I have told you, I have to enclose it inside the double quote or a single quote because this is completely a string. Okay. So if the file is in the current working directory, then you can only mention the name of a file, and if it is not in a working directory, then you have to mention or you have to pass the whole path of the file. Okay, so this is the first step, how to actually pass the name of a file. So these are the two ways. If you're working in a current directory, no need to mention the whole path. If you're not working in a current directory, then you have to mention the whole path. Now, this is the first argument of the open function. Now, second argument, what is the second argument? Second argument is the access mode. In which mode you want to open the file? The access mode can be read, write, append, or anything. Okay. Now, if you want to open it in a read mode, now you can see this particular syntax, first one, f equals to open demo file.txt. So this is the file name, demo file.txt, comma, then R. R is also enclosed in double quotes. That means it is a string. R means you are going to open it in a read mode only. You are not able to write in that particular text file. You are only opening it for reading purpose. Okay. Now in the second syntax, you can see that we are going to open the test.txt and we are opening it for writing purpose. So mode should be W, write. Okay. So this is the whole syntax of how you're going to open a file in Python. Now let's discuss more about the access mode. We have several access modes, like I have told you read, I have told you write, and I have told you about the append. But I haven't told you what is the difference between append and write. So read means if you're mentioning R, it means you're going to read a text file. Okay. Now, if you're going to mention RB, RB means reading a binary file. Okay. So RB means you're going to open a file for reading purpose and the file is a binary file. In the same way, if you're going to open a text file and you want to write in that particular file, you're going to mention W. Okay, so what W will do if the file already exists? What it will do? It will overwrite the whole content. It will start writing from the top of the file. Okay, if some content is there, it will be overwritten. Okay, if file doesn't exist, then it will create a new file and then start writing into that. Now, if you're going to mention WB, now, what is WB means you're going to write in a binary file. Okay. Now, let's move towards the A. A means append. Append means adding the content, adding the content from the end of the file. Okay. So it means when you are going to update in a file, the previous content already exists in that and it will start writing from the end of the file. And if the file doesn't exist, then a new file will be created. Now, there are some more versions of read and write and append. Now, if you're going to mention R plus or plus R after R, it means you want to write, and along with writing, you want sorry, if it is R plus, so it means that you're going to read the file, you're opening a file for reading purpose, plus means you're going to write it also. Okay, in the same way, if you are saying W plus means writing. Along with writing, you want to read it. In the same way, if you are saying A plus means you are appending, you are updating a file. Along with that, you are reading the file too. So these are the several modes in the file handling in Python. You can we'll discuss with the example in the next session. Okay. Now, if you're going to open a file, you need to close it too. Okay. So it's a common practice to close a file. Because when you're opening a file, the file will be opened in the RAM, or the memory is assigned to a RAM. So you know that the RAM is having very limited storage, and if the work is over, you need to get that memory back. So for that, you need to close it so that the memory that is assigned to that particular file will be released. So for that purpose, we need to close the particular file. So for that purpose, we have a inbuilt function which is called close. So how to actually call the close function? We need a file handle object, and file handle object dot close is the way to close a particular file. I hope you understand all the concept. In the next session, we will see how to run the program, how to read and write, and along with that, how to append in a file using Python. Thank you for watching.